SpaceX and their stock. And what it's been doing, man, look, first of all, it's not financial advice or recommendation or anything. We're just talking about what we've seen, right?
Yeah.
What the market's looking like. What that market looking like, DJ?
Yeah, man. So, I mean, it seems like, as media outlets have been saying, that's a little bit of a sell off have happened. So, of course, highest IPO ever. Then, they had an increase, basically a couple of days after that, or, had some gains on it. And then I want to say on June 22nd is when the sell off, quote unquote, started to happen, basically. So
Mhm, mhm.
you start to see. So I think down it got to around 160 at close and you guys can kind of look it up and everything like that. But basically, they said a little bit of a sell off. So there are some people I'm sure that made some major wins riding it up, from the initial IPO amount that it came public with. What do you think about that, Deuce?
No, at the end of the day, yes, but 600 billion erased in 3 days. Whew, that ain't nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but yeah, that's a lot. I mean, if it's 600 billion, I mean, whew. But I did see something that said whatever billion amount that it was, but it says Elon's still a trillionaire or something like that. So they were like, it's basically like, he's still a trillionaire. I was like, that's crazy. It's crazy, just to think of someone like an individual being a trillionaire is crazy.
I mean, that was a blockbuster IPO, of course, right? Cool, quick with sneakers. Look, they was out there in their green KDs. I think of the KD 18s they had, right? They was out there. They knew exactly what they're doing, styling and profiling. Blockbuster
Yeah,
IPO.
man.
Matter of fact, I guarantee they'll probably make a movie about it soon. Somebody will. Somebody gonna pick it up.
So days after the IPO, apparently like all stock, what was it, 60 billion they bought Cursor fully out. Yeah. So
Cursor.
apparently Cursor, yeah, they purchased Cursor.
What makes it really interesting for those who don't know, if you're not familiar, Cursor, of course, is AI coding platform, obviously in competition with Claude Code, right, and a few of the other coding platforms that maybe OpenAI has, and even Anti-Gravity or Google and some of their coding platforms. But Cursor is pretty well known and pretty well used. Cursor themselves had a pretty aggressive acquisition of Graphite back in the late 2025, which is a code review startup. So the interesting thing with that, since SpaceX has now acquired this AI coding tool, it's interesting to see if they, specifically tie it down to that, or maybe just supercharge it with that Grok model or, XAI's ambitions. It's really interesting to see what may happen or come out of that. So they will be very soon releasing GPT 5.6,
Yep.
which is going to be their latest model. They're going to potentially include a mini and a pro variant, and that's the latest and greatest from OpenAI. So it'll be cool to see the benchmarks that it hits and how it performs against the models already on the market right now, and also against the most previous GPT model.
I'm wondering if 5.6 will, like I know, there's speculation that it will, but I'm wondering if everybody, like even Gemini and OpenAI, if they're going to be like, whoa, let's wait and see what's going on with this whole Anthropic thing, because they could drop their new model and potentially have the same issue that happens, that somebody jailbreaks it and all of a sudden they got to pull their model back. So it is definitely interesting times that we have right now, because for a while, Anthropic was just releasing new models, releasing new models. And if you go on the arena, we used to always say, hey, check their LM Arena boards and everything like that. And, pretty much all the Anthropic models were just crushing it right now. I mean, if you go look, I want to say the top 5 models are all Anthropic models, and we'll show it. And basically, you can kind of take a look at those. But if you look at the LM Arena, like Anthropic's has been pretty much crushing it. And, so
No,
either way,
which is
yeah.
interesting, but needless to say, right, this new GPT 5.6 model, some of the claims that they have, right, obviously a larger token context window, zero point 0.5 million tokens, right, improved long horizon coding and faster codex response time. So, of course, that's OpenAI's Codex is their AI coding platform, right? So it'll be cool to see like how it performs, right? Obviously, this is hype, right? This is what to see brought to the table. Okay, cool. I'm excited for this, but let's see what it actually does. So if you're into the weeds of using ChatGPT, or if you're just a casual user, this still matters to you, right? But what they're also claiming is competitive pricing to undercut Anthropic, right? And we know like this, like, okay, now we're getting into the cutthroat war again. You know what I'm saying? Like back and forth is going back and forth.
Well, now
Now,
it's that's where we're at right now. I'm glad that you brought that up, just because I mean, so the lower token cost, right? So it is supposed to be 10 to 15% lower in token costs, and that's one thing. But everybody know like these corporations are getting huge bills, right now for these new features. Like some companies, and I'm hearing this from colleagues that are in different corporations. Like now they're afraid to let their employees use. Like at first it was just like, hey, use AI, use AI. They were tracking people and said, oh, you're not using AI, you need to use it more. But now when you have these agents running, and you have these agentic workflows and everything like that, especially like tied to these newer models, Deuce, like 5.6 or Opus 4.8 and everything, or even Fable before they took that off. Now you get this big bill because like your usage is up because they have these long running tasks going. And if you got all these people, so now you have to throttle it because the companies start just, it's not unlimited usage anymore. Now it's just kind of like, hey, you got to pay to play type thing. So
Mid-Journey, right? They dropped a new AI generator that is coming out. But however, it's not just your old regular AI image generator. This one develops a full body ultrasonic scanner, essentially, or it is developing a full body ultrasonic scanner, which means a lot, especially for modern day medicine, right? So if you think about it, right, this machine can, or project from Midjourney can scan a whole person's body in 60 seconds. And it's something we've never seen before. However, it created a 3D map of users' bodies down to a fraction of a millimeter. It looks very, very similar to an MRI. However, for a fraction of the speed, right? Nearly 100 times faster. Have you ever gotten an MRI?
I I don't, not maybe
Bruh,
when I was younger. I can't even remember.
listen, the last time I got an
So when they
MRI,
put you in that machine, right?
they
Yeah,
put you in that
yeah.
machine, man. It takes about 50 minutes, depending on where. But I got one recently a few years ago for my knee, and it took about 50 minutes, right? And I'm telling you, like it put you in a big old machine, and it's just crazy.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
what
some
this
people
is
get
doing,
claustrophobic and everything. Yeah. So
absolutely. And you can't wear no metal or jewelry. Like your body should not be taking that type of radiation or whatever for that long. However, like I said, so a full scan takes less than 60 seconds for Midjourney's new AI generator, image generator, compared to an MRI, 60 to 90 minutes for a full body MRI. So now the
that's
companies,
crazy.
they're building out spas to house the machines for customers to use. But it's pretty sweet, man. But because of new technology that has been coming out, including these spas that in Midjourney is doing. There's other new technology that's coming to the market. Of course, Valve's Steam Machine is one of them, right? And this thing looks pretty sweet, pretty pricey. However, it is set to potentially wipe out the console, the gaming console. And I don't know about you, DJ, but they said that is the goal of it. And who knows?
I think that they're saying like they're trying to bridge that gap even more between PC and